Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you all. Welcome to Bayou Sports Talk here down in the Bayou of Louisiana. We have a great panel here. I am your moderator, Kay, and we have Coach. Holla at him, Coach.
It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boxing community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. Uh, Hopefully, y'all enjoy today's show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Uh, if you have not done so already, check out some the video I posted this morning. Southern University, talking about Southern University players that did not make the all preseason SWAC team. And in addition to that, my fight prediction, which I'm gonna give on this show also, the Spence versus Crawford fight. So y'all sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
All right, holla at him, Ray.
It's fight night. It's fight day, baby. Let's go, man. Let's go. Time to give our predictions. Our last final thoughts about the fight that's going to transpire tonight. And just ready to, get into this sports talk. So hope y'all enjoy.
All right, so our guys have said it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the Spencer Crawford fight tonight. Coach, start us off. What are your thoughts? What's your prediction? Uh, are you going to be watching? What are you going to, tell me something. Give me something.
Well, first and foremost, is a huge boxing fan. I've been longing for this fight. I've been waiting for this fight. Another one of our brothers who don't really, he really kind of turned off by boxing. But on his platform, on True Boxing Talk, he's been building this fight for like 5 years. That's where the buzz for this fight really started. Here on YouTube, True Boxing Talk, with the Brother Black Fight Fan TV. So basically, it was built on True Boxing Talk. It's been years in the making. So I'm glad that the fight is finally here. So as a boxing fan, I'm not going to stream it. I have a confession, sometimes some of these fights that I'm not too interested in, I stream it or I watch it on a device. I'm not trying to incriminate myself, but I'm going to just be honest. But this particular fight, I'm buying this fight. If you're a true hardcore boxing fan, go out and buy this fight. Let's show the suits that black boxing fans do matter when we get the fights we want. So please don't stream this fight. Purchase this fight. If you are able and you're financially able to do so, please purchase this fight. That's the first thing I want to point out. The next thing I want to point out, I'll address some of these topics in my video addressing this fight. But earlier this week, Japanese fighter Monster Inoue, he defeated Stephen Cool Boy Steph Fulton. And, not taking any credit away from him, but like some of the brothers here on YouTube and the LDBC, we talk about how, the boxing pundits and media, they always want a non-black fighter to be the number one pound for pound best fighter in the sport. I remember years ago when Floyd Mayweather Jr., when he stepped away from when he stepped away from boxing for a little while, they elevated this Hispanic fighter. His nickname was Chocolatito, but his name is Roman Gonzalez. They elevated him to number one pound for pound best fighter in the sport over all the black boxers that, had put in more work, had fought against better competition, so on and so forth. So since Monster Inoue won, a lot of these individuals, they didn't have Cool Boy Steph being in their top 10 pound for pound. But since he dominated the fight so much, they're saying no matter what happens in tonight's fight, that Monster Inoue is the number one fighter pound for pound in the sport of boxing. I strongly disagree with that. Truthfully speaking, he had an excellent performance against Cool Boy Steph. I'm not taking any credit away from him, but he's not even in my top 10. Because anytime at one point they had Chocolatito number one pound for pound, then at one point over Bud Crawford, who's fighting tonight against Spence, and Andre Ward, they had Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, who had less than 10 fights, and he had one unavenged loss on his record. He was like 7-1, and they had him as the number one pound for pound best fighter in the sport of boxing. So it kind of goes to show you how boxing always wants a non-black fighter to be number one on the pound for pound list. But despite what the pundits say, this fight right here tonight is not only for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world, but is also, in my opinion, for the number one spot in terms of pound for pound best fight in the world. Whether it's Spence, whether it's Crawford, I just hope more than anything that the boxing fans win. The boxing fans win, and we get an excellent fight. I'm picking Spence to win, even though I think Terence Crawford is an excellent counterpuncher. He has a high boxing IQ. He's a switch hitter. He goes from orthodox to southpaw, and he's an excellent fighter. But even with that being said, I think Errol Spence Jr. is naturally the bigger, stronger fighter, and Bud he has a tendency to want to trade. I think if he keeps the fight at mid range and he doesn't stand in front of Spence and he fights a smart fight, I think he can win the fight. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think, as usual, when he gets hit, he wants to make it a firefight and a slugfest, and he wants to trade. That's not going to be in his best interest. And I think if it's an inside fight, that favors Spence also. So I think those things are going to happen. I think it's going to be a high-level chess match. It's going to be back and forth. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be a Night of Legends type fight. I got Spence winning 7 rounds to 5, or 115 or 113. 7 rounds to 5 for those non-boxing fans. I'm expecting an excellent fight, and hopefully we get a classic. The one thing I'm
Okay, coach has frozen, so I think we lost
no,
him.
I'm right here.
Okay. Okay, coach needs to check his connection. We lost him once again. Um, but I see that well, we're gonna come back to him to find out exactly beyond his predictions. But we want to shout out as we're waiting to Jared. Thank you for watching. And Ray, what are your thoughts? Who do you predict?
So I'm predicting I got my money on Errol Spence by knockout. I truly believe that this fight will not go to a decision. Somebody always has to go, and somebody head will get knocked off. So I feel like somebody will get knocked.
Really, Ray?
Somebody will get knocked out in this fight. I agree with a lot that Coach says. You know, when you look at Terrence Crawford, for me, like I feel like Terrence Crawford is more of a technical fighter. He controls distance and stuff like that. And he's a great counter striker. And the things that I tend to notice from Errol Spence, he has more of that warrior mentality. He's more willing to stand and bang. And Terrence Bud Crawford, he's the type of guy. Even though he fights very technical, he likes to get his get back. So he get hit, he gonna want to hit you back. And that's the thing. Errol Spence, he lives for that. He wants to stand and bang. He want to get in, like what people in my age from Louisiana say. He like to get in the blend. So it's almost like he like to get up in there and get messy and stuff like that. So, and I feel like from watching the press conferences and the way they interact with each other, I don't think this will be a very emotional fight. I don't think that Terrence Bud Crawford will allow his emotions to get to him. But if he does allow his emotions to get to him and I gotta get my get back every time I get hit, and he feeds into Errol Spence game plan to just get into a slugfest and a war, I feel like Errol Spence gonna catch him on one and take his head off. And I just feel like Errol Spence chin is more tested because he's been in more of those slugfest fights. So I'm leaning more towards Errol Spence in this fight.
Okay, coach. Back to you. Who do you predict to win?
I agree 100% with Raymond. You know, Terrence Bud Crawford, even though he's an excellent fighter, he's been hurt by lesser competition, whether it's Evas Kavaluskas, the Green Machine. He was hurt by Yokas Gamboa. So it won't be in his best interest to stand there and trade. It'll be better if he moves and he boxes and he keeps the fight at mid range. But Errol Spence Jr., like Raymond said, he a dog. They both dogs. This is for the number one pound for pound spot in the sport of boxing. So EJ is gonna want to bang the body. He's gonna want to get inside. Uh, and he said it's gonna be a one-sided butt whooping. I don't see that happening. It's a 50-50 fight. Bud is the betting favorite, but I think Spence, in my opinion, I think he's the slight favorite. I think Spence is gonna win. It's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be a 115, 113 type win, meaning 7 rounds to 5. Hopefully there's no controversy in the fight. We get a clear-cut, transparent winner, and there's no issues after the fight between the two fan bases the way it was between the Charlo brothers and Caleb Plant yesterday. So for all of those people say, yeah, you can't, you can't let black people get together, blah, blah, blah. That's ridiculous. That's the fighters. That's not the fan bases. So hopefully, that's not an issue between the two fan bases. And in addition to that, more than anything, I just want the boxing fans to win tonight.
Okay, guys. Well, let's jump over to the NBA. Trade rumors have that the Suns will trade for DeAndre Ayton. He's going to be traded to the Dallas Mavericks. So, Ray, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts, man? I was just talking to one of my friends. We was at the Texas Rangers game, and we was talking about, the Dallas Mavericks. Had this lady in front of us overheard our conversation, and she came into our conversation and stuff. And we was talking about how, like, Luca, man, we all know Luca's a dog, but he can't do it by himself. Like, he needs people around him. And he got Kyrie, and it seems like they're really trying to develop a team around Luca. But the question is, I wonder who and what they're going to give up to get on DeAndre Ayton. So I would like what the Mavericks are doing. They're really trying to build a team. Then the Mavericks they got Williams. I believe his name Grant Williams, right?
Grant Williams, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they trying to build a solid starting lineup and team around Luca, which is a very good sign to me. Of course, I kind of really don't want them to because they're in the same division as the Pelicans. But it's going to be good to see Luka get an actual team around him. I wouldn't say DeAndre Ayton is a star player, but I would consider him to be a very good elite player. And then you got Kyrie, so that I would be, that would be a good trade, especially depending on what the Suns get in return. And I got to see what kind of big man the Suns going to be getting because they're going to have Devin Booker, they're going to have KD, and they're going to have, what's your boy name? They got him from the Wizards. I got his face in my mind and everything. Uh,
Kevin Durant.
no, not Kevin Durant. He came from the Wizards. They just got him this offseason.
What position he plays?
He plays shooting guard, point guard, and the Suns just got him this
Oh, you
offseason.
talking Bradley Beal?
Yeah, Bradley Bill. So it's
Yeah.
like the Suns got 3-star players right there. I mean, in my mind, they need a big man, but they don't need a star big man. So like somebody like his name, somebody like a Looney or something like that. Somebody who could just get you rebounds and get it back to the star players. They don't really need a big man who won't grab rebounds and score. So I could make sense of the Suns trading away Ayton because too much of star power is kind of we starting to see that you don't want a lot of star power on one team, and the Suns definitely got a lot of star power on one team and stuff like that. So, and also to speak about Dallas, they need people that's going to step up and score points because Luka can't do it by himself. So I would expect 30 from Luka, 30 from Kyrie, and another 20 from DeAndre Ayton. You got you 30, 60, another 20. That's 80 points right there. Just estimating and stuff like that. So I feel like that'd be a really good, trade for both teams on both sides.
Okay, Coach. What are your
Uh,
thoughts? Do you agree with Ray?
yeah, I agree. I mean, he brings up a valid point because, the issue with DeAndre Ayton uh, this year in the playoffs was when he was going up against the Joker, Jokic. Uh, he kind of wanted to go back at him, but the fact that you know, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, both ball dominant players. Now you're gonna add Bradley Beal to the mix. So in that type of situation, like Rudy said a couple weeks ago, they need a big man, maybe like a Mitchell Robinson that can grab rebounds, block shots, play defense, be a rim protector. They need that type of guy. They don't need somebody that's gonna wanna kind of like you were saying about Bud earlier, kind of wants to go back at the opposing player. Because I remember years ago when uh, the Lakers, they made a three-peat run with Shaq and Kobe. And then they ended up getting, at one point, ended up getting Gary Payton and Karl Malone, who were in the twilight of their respective careers. Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups, well, he was cooking Gary Payton, even though Gary Payton was a very good defender. The thing about it was he was so used to being a lockdown defender, he wasn't that guy anymore. And then in addition to that, he was always accustomed to getting the ball in the offensive end and going back and attacking that same player when he's on the offensive side of the ball. But he didn't have that luxury of the fact that, he was playing point guard. You had Kobe Bryant, you had Shaq, you had Karl Malone. You got all these Hall of Fame players on one team. It wasn't enough basketballs to go around. Whereas on the flip side, the Pistons, Billups and Rip Hamilton and Rasheed Wallace, they shared the ball. Tayshaun Prince and Ben Wallace were excellent role players and excellent defenders. So they meshed and fit well together. So I think DeAndre Ayton would be a better fit for Luka than Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie Irving and Luka, they both ball dominant. I don't think they really fit together. Whereas, if you look at years ago when Kyrie and LeBron played together, even though, LeBron, he likes to beat the ball in the ground also, but he was able to get the ball to Kyrie and at opportune times in certain spots and let Kyrie kind of do his thing. Whereas Luka not only wants to beat the ball in the ground, but Luka wants to score the ball also. And I don't think him and Kyrie fit together, but I think DeAndre Ayton, I think he fits perfectly with Luka. Now, that's the interesting question that Raymond asks. What pieces would they give up to get DeAndre Ayton? Because the thing people don't realize with the NBA, not only do you want players that fit and mesh well together, but you also have to make a trade. It has to match dollar for dollar. So if Raymond is making $5 million, you trade him for me, my salary has to be within a certain amount of that $5 million. So, that's the point that people don't realize.
Okay. Anything you would like to say outside of that, Ray, in rebuttal to Coach?
No, I don't have any other rebuttals.
Okay, and we want to shout out also again. We see David Jackson. Thank you for tuning in. And so let's jump to another basketball issue or something that happened recently. So Brownie, for any of you who don't know, Brownie James, who is LeBron James's son, went into cardiac arrest during his USC workout. So tell me, what are your thoughts, Coach?
Well, first and foremost, my thoughts and prayers are with LeBron James Jr. and their family. I know he was released from the hospital, uh, so it seems like he's doing fine physically. Everything is going well with him. So more than anything, you want him to be whole, healthy, and happy more than anything. That's the most important thing before basketball, before anything else. So that's the main thing. So, hopefully, he's in good health and everything is going well with him and his family. That's first and foremost. But from a physical standpoint, this young man is 18 years old. Uh, he's extremely healthy. It's alarming that he's working out and he just collapsed. And I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist. There's no way somebody 18 years old that's in his physical prime, from a physical fitness standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, and just all around the board, there's no reason he should collapse like in the midst of a workout. So only things I could think of is, first and foremost, maybe he had some kind of pre-existing medical condition that he was unaware of, and it just all of a sudden happened, and it caused him to collapse and go into a cardiac arrest. So either that could be the case, or something else that's kind of outside the norm. I mean, we don't know if he received the COVID vaccine or not, but something along those lines is the only thing that would make sense. So either he has a pre-existing health condition that he knew about, or maybe he didn't know about, because I remember one of my mentors, uh, he he was at football practice, and then all of a sudden he had like a mini mild stroke, because he had a pre-existing health condition that he was unaware of, and when he had the stroke, they found out about it. So either it's that type of situation with Bronny James, or like I said, I don't know uh, if he received the COVID vaccination, because unless he discloses that himself, LeBron discloses that, you know, just looking into somebody's medical files, that's a violation of HIPAA laws. But even with that being said, unless he received the COVID vaccination, maybe that could kind of impact, what he went through from a medical standpoint. But truthfully speaking, someone of his age and his fitness level and his athletic ability, in the prime of his physical fitness, makes absolutely no lapse to cardiac arrest. So that's the, either some pre-existing that he was unaware of, he just found the COVID, or he see the COVID vaccination and that comes it. But other than that, I don't see anything that really would remotely make sense, because a couple nights ago I was watching uh, a medical doctor explain it, and
Okay, so it seems as coach is having some technical difficulties, and so we're gonna just kind of swing on back to him. So Ray, hit us up. What are your thoughts? And most definitely, coach is right. Our prayers are with the James family, because that is nothing you, as a young person, anyone, whether young or old, will want to deal with.
Right, exactly. Like, prayers out to Bronny, and stuff like that. Like, I know how I feel to be in the hospital and stuff like that. So, you don't want people to go through that, especially like what Coach said, somebody, who is in his physical prime, somebody like him. But some, I'm gonna just give my input. Some that I've noticed over the years, that some proverbs and wisdom that I've gotten, just because you're physically in shape does not mean that you're healthily in shape. Like, because you could have a six-pack abs, you could have tip-top speed, but that don't mean that you're like your inside is like healthy. Like, because you could be eating all the wrong things and still be in shape. So I'm gonna just say that. But not technically, I definitely agree with Coach. It's like, still somebody his age shouldn't be having like a cardiac arrest. You usually hear that from people who are like 60 some years old, 50 some years old, having cardiac arrest. That means something is wrong with your heart. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you need your heart to pump blood through your body. Oxygen gets into your blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you exercise, your heart rate goes up and stuff like that. So it's like, sad that it happened. We Prayers go out to the James family. I'm praying that he recovers. He's the son of LeBron James, who has a lot of potential. People want to see him play, especially with his dad. It's a lot of speculating things, that what could have caused it. Could have been an underlying health condition. Never know. Like, we as Saints fans, we seen what's that tight end we just got from the Raiders? What's his name? Foster Moreau, played for LSU. We know he got to the Saints. He found out he got cancer. Dude didn't even know he had cancer. He beats the cancer, Like, found out he had cancer. What if he would have never found that out? Would have went the whole season playing with cancer. Something probably would have happened. He probably would have collapsed. Then they would have found out, oh, this guy been having cancer for months. So, good thing Bron is alive. He survived it. So now they could. Unfortunate that it happened, but at least they caught it. Now, they could proceed with action. And, you know, I watch I Am Athlete. I listen to Chad Ochocinco. Well, the old I Am Athlete, because Chad not on that no more. But we know it's Chad versus science. Chad is like, hey, you can eat McDonald's and still be a top tier athlete. Some people that it could, but some people you got to eat your broccoli and your vegetables and drink plenty of water. And that might be the case. I don't know what his diet consists of, but I know how I was when I was in college and in high school. I could go eat Chick-fil-A, then go work out. I could still do that right now at the age I'm at, but I feel it a little bit more. Because if I go eat Chick-fil-A, then go get on that treadmill, I could still jog like it's nothing, but it's going to make it way tougher than what it really is. So all I got to say is, prayers to Bronny, prayers to the James family. Just hope it's not, anything serious or anything like that. But yeah, that was a shock to everybody to see that happen.
Almost definitely. And so, Coach, uh, hit us up with the rest of your thoughts.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, basically, I just was saying that someone his age, you know, shouldn't go into cardiac collapse and go into cardiac arrest unless during this episode they found out that he had some kind of medical condition that he was unaware of, or unless we don't know if he received the COVID vaccine or not. But unless he got the COVID vaccine and he had some type of adverse effect, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there's no way someone his age should have had that particular medical situation happen. So, like Raymond was saying, thoughts and prayers to his family. Hopefully he's healthy. You know, Basketball is secondary to his life. So hopefully everything works out for that young man.
Oh yes. So, guys, let's get to something with more enthusiasm. Let's jump to the NFL. And let's go. I think no, let's talk about Swag Day, guys. I'm sorry. Let's get to Swag Day. What are your thoughts on Swag Day, Coach? Because I know you are uh loving Southern, and you are up on what they're doing, and I know Ray is as well. So tell me, what are your thoughts about Swag Day? Swag
Well,
Media.
Swag Media Day was Tuesday, uh, and like I predicted, uh, they predicted that on the Swag East side, they predicted FAMU to win the Swag East, and they predicted, even though Jackson State has more talent than FAMU, because the issue with J State is the fact that when Coach Prime left and went to Colorado, like a lot of those players went with him. So they replaced Coach T.C. Taylor. He replaced the players that left with players that are equally as talented. However, uh, it takes time to build continuity and chemistry and to gel together. And as a result, I favor FAMU over J State. So they predicted that FAMU is going to win the East, led by quarterback Jeremy Musa, who's going to be a senior this year. So they predicted that basically FAMU going to win the East. J State is right behind them. Now, the issue with FAMU is we're going to talk about it a little bit later on in the show. They had an incident where a rapper from Tallahassee, he came, unbeknownst to Coach Willie Simmons and the AD and, the powers that be, he came on campus and he shot video, had explicit lyrics in the video. He put on a FAMU helmet, which is a trademark, and so on and so forth. So as of right now, Coach Willie Simmons and the brass at FAMU, they have suspended football activities, for the foreseeable future. Now, fall camp is right around the corner, and they're predicted to win the SWAC East because, they have more than likely probably the best quarterback, arguably in the SWAC, with Jeremy Musa, and they have a lot of players that's coming back. I mean, they're a senior heavy team. So that's on that side of the ledger. On the other side of the ledger, in the SWAC West, they predicted Southern to go back to the SWAC championship again this year. Even though Southern, doesn't have a returning quarterback because Bashawn McCray, even though he was exceptionally talented from an athletic standpoint, he reminded me a lot of Darius Skelton. But Bashawn McCray was basically a glorified running back playing quarterback. And Lyndon Bubba McDaniel, the quarterback that should have been a starter, he was a fifth-year senior. So last year was his last year eligibility. So neither one of those two quarterbacks are there. The projected quarterback, Harold Blood, I think this is his fourth year at Southern. He's the projected starter, but he may not start. It could be Noah Bod, who transferred from Grambling. It could also be Dylan Marotra, who transferred from UAB. It could also be Chris Tucker, who's been there a little minute. And they also got Zay Tested, who's an incoming quarterback. And they also have, from Georgia. So one of those guys might be the starting quarterback. Jalen Campbell, also him and Harold Blood, the two of them accompanied Coach Dooley to SWAC Media Day. They projected that Southern comes in first, Alcorn comes in second, and TSU comes in third. Me personally, I would favor Texas Southern over Alcorn, even though Alcorn has a lot of players coming back. I mean, Andrew Body being the starting quarterback. I mean, Andrew Body is a very good SWAC quarterback. So, having an elite level quarterback, because if you look at the year Southern won the SWAC championship, they had Eric Randall, they had Quincy Richard, they had Dre Joseph. So having a seasoned quarterback that's very talented, that takes you a long way. So they predicted Southern to win the West, and they predicted FAMU to win the East. And on the all SWAC preseason team, Southern had 9 players. I don't know if Raymond played with him, but Taj Brown, who was a middle linebacker at Donaldsonville High School, this is his last year eligibility at Southern. He played middle linebacker then when he was with Raymond in those days. This year, his last year at Southern, he's a starting nose guard, and he made second team all SWAC last year. They projecting he made the first team all SWAC in terms of preseason. So it's gonna be an interesting season. I can't wait till the SWAC season starts. Like I say, Southern had 9 players on all preseason SWAC team. I think it's gonna be an excellent SWAC season. I think in the East, it's pretty much, I hate to say it, it's kind of like a 2-horse race. Even though anything can happen, injuries can happen, but more than likely, it's going to be FAMU and J-State. Whereas in the West, you have Southern, you have Alcorn, you have, you have Texas Southern. I mean, truthfully speaking, probably for the exception of Pine Bluff, anybody could win the West. Whereas in the East, I'm gonna just be truthful, it's more like a 2-horse race,
Okay, well, guys, before we get to Ray and his thoughts, we want to give a shout out to Big Time Sports. Thank you for watching. And he also made a comment that he said that Coach Simmons, he has a statement that SWAC Media Day, on SWAC Media Day, that the suspension has been lifted and they're going to resume football activities.
Well, I'm glad he pointed that out because on my brother's channel, Jared 11 Green, we talked about this last Sunday, and basically Coach Simmons was just kind of being proactive. He didn't want like a major like sanction coming from administration. So he kind of self-imposed a slap on the wrist. So, that's like kind of like just use for example. There were instances where LSU had NCAA violations. So what they did was they'll self-impose like a minor slap on the wrist, so they don't get a major punishment from the NCAA. And essentially, Coach Simmons he pretty much did the same thing. I mean, it would be foolish if you have a team that's the front runners and the favorite to win the SWAC East for you to, have a prolonged ban in terms of, we're gonna suspend football activities, for a while. No, I mean with Jeremy Musa and the players that they have coming back, no, it was in their best interest to just have a little slap on the wrist and just kind of keep things pushing.
All right. And also shout out to Count Drago, Christopher Williams. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead, Ray. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts is I kind of want to speak on ties. They do have ties at nose, but I really truly believe that he's a defensive end type of player. But just say if you were to go to the NFL, you would mainly be at defensive end. Um, but of course, I really didn't pay as much attention to SWAC Media Day. All I know is go Jags, and that I'm rooting for the Jags in the West. But I do really want to focus on the FAMU issue. So it's like,
Well, Ram, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but
all right,
yeah.
all right. But
But
as far as like Media Day, I really didn't watch any of the content pertaining to Media Day, and it's not because I didn't get a chance to. I really usually don't watch Media Day anymore pertaining to any type of sports because all it is just people talking about expectations. It's just a bunch of interviews with players, like saying the same thing. I like, man, we expect to do this and that this year, and predictions and stuff like that. Media Day is cool, to get a vibe from the players and the coaches, but I don't like throughout the years I've kind of like really didn't care as much for it. I don't know. It's just me.
yeah, and just to kind of address one of your points about Taj, I mean, you got to realize, I think you accustomed to him being when y'all at Donaldson like a middle linebacker, that could do certain things, but you got to realize he's grown physically. I mean, basically, he is a legitimate nose guard. And don't get me wrong, I know last year that Jason Dumas and and a lot of the Southern players up front on side the ball, they garner a lot of attention. But at this point, Taj is not the middle linebacker. You remember him being he's a legitimate nose guard. And I think the thing that helped him, was the fact that, that Jason Dumas was the 3 technique and Taj was the 1 technique. Jason Dumas garnered a lot of attention and, double teams and allowed Taj to kind of eat up a lot of space in the middle. And I'm not gonna lie, he really kind of helped control, Southern's defensive line, in terms of, from a run stopping standpoint, because, there were portions of games that I would be in A.W. Mumford Stadium, and when you take him out the game from a run stopping standpoint, it's extremely noticeable. So he's not the middle linebacker, you remember. He's the legitimate nose guard at this point.
And I mean, I guess another reason why I bring that up, because I know he originally went to Houston, and that's when he transferred.
Yeah, he did. But
I know at Houston he played DN, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did. But I mean,
he grown. He probably gained more weight.
He's grown into that nose guard body. So he's not the middle linebacker you remember from Donaldson High School. I'm gonna put it like that.
And also, so we want to kind of touch on what Christopher Williams says. He says, even though Grambling is going to be last, he sees that they're improving this year. And so Grambling, I'm sorry, but that is not someone that's on my radar until Bayou Classic.
Well, I'm going to be truthful just to kind of, I know Big Time Sports. I know he a TSU fan, I think. And Christopher Williams, he a GSU fan. But the thing about it, they predicted Pine Bluff to come in last. And, I pointed out on one of my Southern videos recently It's amazing how when they went into COVID, Pine Bluff was the top team at the SWAC at the time, and it's astonishing how far they've fallen, in these last few years. But I think Christopher Williams brings up a valid point: the fact that Hugh Jackson, he was an excellent offensive coordinator in the NFL. Unless he kind of comes around to being our college level offensive coordinator, I think he's gonna struggle because I'm gonna be truthful. Grambling should have won a Bayou Classic this past year. Had he just stuck to the running game and just kept feeding. Just think. Floyd Chuck the Ford, he had 120 yards rushing. He only ran the ball 8 times. Southern could not stop the run. So he just would have stuck with the run game. I know a lot of people gave Calvez a lot of grief, but he not that guy. He not this dude. That dude, he was more than serviceable in terms of quarterback play. I think just from a play calling standpoint, I think Hugh Jackson put him at a serious disadvantage. He shouldn't have been throwing the ball as many times as he did. And I think he fumbled a couple times, the pick six at the end and then the fumble. Like, that pretty much killed him. But from a play calling standpoint, if he just would have stuck with the run game, I think Grambling wins that game. But I think Grambling going to be a better team than people give him credit for being. Coach Hugh Jackson, he's brought in a lot of talent. But, you just can't, unless you coach Prime, you just can't wave a magic wand and be a SWAC championship caliber team overnight. It takes a while to kind of, brick by brick, build a SWAC championship caliber team. I know some people are going to say, well, Pete Richardson did it, but you got to realize when he took over that team from Gerald Kimball, he had a senior heavy team, with Sean Wallace and Lindsey Scott and those type of guys. So he had a senior heavy team. That was the reason why he was able to win the SWAC his first year. So it takes a while to build a SWAC championship caliber team,
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that topic that is eating everyone up. And let's go ahead and dive into how real Boston Richie went to FAMU and did a video on campus with the players and wore a FAMU helmet. So go ahead, Coach. It's eating you up. Go ahead and talk to us about it.
Yeah, well, like Big Time SWAC Sports said, Coach Willie Simmons, he's lifted the ban on organized team activities. But at the time, the rapper Real Boston Richie, he's a Tallahassee rapper. And, myself, my brother, Jared 11 Green, who's in the his twin JB and the other brother Brent Fox, we talked about it last week on the Southern Baller Show on his channel. And basically what happened was, Boston Richie, he, unbeknownst to administration at the school and Coach Willie Simmons, he came on campus, right? He came on campus. And initially, I think they thought it was just going to be, them just spending time with him, just kicking it, whatever the case may be. But he came on campus and shot a rap video. He had a lot of explicit lyrics in the video. And I guess administration didn't sign on them using the marks for FAMU. And with those individuals that don't know, basically trademarks. Because, if you came to Southern and you put on that white helmet, one of those other helmets, like the gold helmet or the blue helmet that Southern or Pete Richardson has had over the years, if you put on one of those helmets, that's a Southern University trademark. And as a result, he has some inexplicit lyrics, some explicit lyrics in this video. It was a controversial video, and as a result, Coach Willie Simmons, he self-imposed a ban where they weren't allowed to do any team activities for a while. Basically, like I was saying earlier, more than anything, he was just kind of self-imposing a slap on. So, they don't get heavier punishment by the AD or by the administrators at FAMU. But more than anything, it was kind of much ado about nothing because, like we said on the Southern Baller Show last week, over the years, Luther Campbell, or Uncle Luke, he had videos on the University of Miami's campus. He's worn a lot of University of Miami paraphernalia over the years. No big deal. Trick Daddy, he's done the same thing also. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the University of Miami and FAMU are on two different levels, or even FAMU and Florida State are on different levels. But even with that being said, I think it was much to do about nothing. But I think Coach Willie Simmons, he had to make sure that he he self-imposed, a small punishment, so administration doesn't really come out on him heavy and hard. And especially when you have a team that could potentially win the SWAC championship and go into the Celebration Bowl, from a financial standpoint, it would generate a lot of revenue for the university, because people don't realize when they revamp the SWAC championship game, because it's not like it was, years ago when Southern and Jackson State played in the first SWAC championship game in '99, where you played at a neutral site and both teams split the pot. No, that team that's gonna host the SWAC championship game, they're getting all the money. So you could get that money and win the SWAC championship game, then turn around and go to the Celebration Bowl. Because KU and I, years ago, our parents brought us. It was the Heritage Bowl back then, but it's the Celebration Bowl now. You go to that Celebration Bowl, that's a lot of revenue. That's millions of dollars for your university, for your institution. So, turning on that type of revenue would have been stupid and foolish on Coach Simmons' part. The fact that he got a SWAC championship caliber team, and from an administrative standpoint, they'd have been throwing away a lot of money. So he did what was in the best interest of his team. Like I say, I don't think it was a real big deal. And like Christopher Williams is pointing out in the chat, they didn't get permission from administration. Nike is the sponsor for FAMU athletics in terms of their gear and their paraphernalia. So from a PR standpoint, it was a bad look on the university. Nike didn't want to be associated with that, so on and so forth. So more than anything, it was a PR thing. And like the brother Jared 11 Green said last week on the Southern Baller Show on his channel, basically, in a few weeks, it'll all be forgotten about. And it seems like it hasn't even been that long, and it's kind of water under the bridge at this point, because at the end of the day, FAMU has a SWAC championship caliber team. It'll be interesting to see how the SWAC season plays out. But man, you don't want have too much of a punishment for a team of this caliber.
Okay, Ray, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is like, I just remember, when I was in school going to Southern, like little local artists will always, step foot on campus and stuff like that. So, him coming on campus, of course, wasn't an issue. I've never heard of any of them going in the locker room, shooting a music video and putting on a gear. Now that's like something different. Do I think it was that bad? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it was really that bad, but when you bring up the point where it's like, if this rapper was to get in some kind of trouble, he's now kind of associated with your program. And the thing that came to my mind was Flan J. Johnson, who's a rapper. And she all over like half of her music videos are shot in like the LSU locker room or in the LSU gym. And if you notice, she don't curse in her music. She don't rap about anything provocative. It's all like motivational, sports theme, like movie, like let's go get this motivated sports theme music. Let's go get this money and let's go, ball out, stay motivated and stuff like that. I feel like if the artist would have made a song that was more kind of like inspirational, I don't think it would have been as bad. But man, you talk about provocative stuff, you wearing a football helmet that looks very horribly on your program. Like, to be honest, if somebody like NBA YoungBoy, Lil Wayne, if Lil Wayne, we seen Coach Prime bring Lil Wayne in the Colorado football locker room, and Lil Wayne was like, "This y'all locker room?" He was like, "This nice, like this is nice." So it's like nothing is wrong with bringing an athlete, like in the facility or anything like that. And never know, Lil Wayne might have tried on some Colorado gear behind closed doors. And I'm pretty sure if he asked Coach Prime would be like, of course you could shoot a music video up in here, but with all that being said, it's due to permission. So I'm pretty sure Lil Wayne would get permission. I don't think Lil Wayne will make a very provocative song wearing JSU, Colorado, FAMU, LSU, because Lil Wayne loves LSU. I don't think he would make a very provocative song with their type of gear on. So, but that's a local rapper for you. It is a bad look, but I don't think it's something that bad to where you should like suspend a whole program for a year. You know what I'm saying? Because worse things have went on, like sex scandals and stuff like that. I'd rather somebody shoot a music video in my locker room and then a sex scandal to be going on, in administrations and stuff like that. But this little slap on the wrist they got, I feel like it does make sense, and stuff like that. Probably just make your players run extra and be more disciplined. Like, hey, y'all probably got a curfew now and stuff like that, and y'all can't have guests in the locker room and yada yada and stuff like that. So, like everybody's saying, like this should definitely ball down. By the time the start of the football season, this would probably be like a little talk, but everybody will just forget about it.
Okay, guys. So as we get ready to
Hold
close,
up, Kay. Hold up, Kay. I don't mean to cut you off. Raymond brought up some very excellent points because, of course, Kay, I'm sure when you went to Southern and Raymond, when you went to Southern, it probably was a thing. But when I went to Southern, especially when I first started in the late 90s, there was a ridiculous amount of rappers that would constantly come on campus. A lot of those rappers were no limit rappers at the time. I mean, at the time, someone with like high profile rappers like, C Murder, whoever the case may be. And then other rappers were like no limit rappers that we never even heard of. But, that Master P had signed a no limit. So, he's right. A rapper coming on campus really isn't a big thing. However, when you go to the point where you allow them to shoot a video in your locker room, that's another story. And wear a helmet in that video, it's that's ridiculous. And I'll be honest with you, the age Coach Richardson it was such a connect from such a disconnect from a age standpoint, in terms of knowing the culture. Coach P. Richardson wouldn't have known he probably wouldn't have known who Master P was at the time. That's how much of an age gap because even now, like you look at the students in my class, they talk about YB, Young Bleeder, True Bleeder, all these different local Baton Rouge rappers. I know who some of these guys are, but I know when I was in school, like K could attest to this. Our physical education teacher, he wouldn't have known who this rapper was or that rapper was because it was such a disconnect from an age standpoint. It was such a huge age gap. But, it kind of goes to show you that, like Raymond was saying in terms of the players, it was just a lack of judgment on their behalf because you should have known that Coach Willie Simmons and administration would not have signed off on them doing that. There's no way, bro. I mean, of course, my players, I coached middle school and, there were instances where they did like stupid things. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I mean, I know y'all middle school kids, but you use your brain, bro. Like, there's no way you known I wouldn't have signed off on this. You know what I'm saying? And like, come on, like, use some common sense. So, Raymond brings up an excellent point. Rappers, do these type of things all the time. And of course, even more high profile rappers. But, you can't have, even from a rapper standpoint, Boston Richard should have known that there's a certain protocol that when you do these type of things. And not only that, but you want, I'm sure he might have some type of relationship with some of those players on FAMU's team because he's from Tallahassee. So he shouldn't have put them in that situation. Even though I know in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't a big deal. But, from a judgment standpoint, from his perspective, and a judgment standpoint from the player's perspective, he shouldn't have put them in a compromising situation like that because, it really could have impacted this season, had it, been a worse PR, situation because, it was minor, but it could have been a lot worse,
okay, so guys, really quick before we close out, I want to touch on the Jalen Brown bag that he got, the 5-year deal, 3 or 4. What are your thoughts, Ray?
My thoughts is I'm glad he got the money. I'm glad the dynamic duo of Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown will be staying together, and they got Porzingis to go with it. Um, but to touch on some comments that he made, talking about he gonna help bring back or bring the Black Wall Street to Boston. All them people ain't gonna let that happen. Them people will trade you before they let the Black Wall Street come to Boston. I seen the comment saying that he's saying that to use that as a tactic to get his money and get shipped out of Boston. I'm like, okay, if he's doing that, then that sounds like a good plan. But I'm glad he got his bag, and that's pretty much it. Like, he got his money. He gonna stay with Jason Tatum, But as far as things off, the court, I mean, hey, I'm not knocking it. Of course, I would love to see him, support black businesses, bring a Black Wall Street to Boston. But I don't. I mean, bro, look at what happened to Kyrie, and he literally just retweeted a documentary. What do you think they're gonna do to you if you literally try and invest money to bring no Black Wall Street to Boston? Come on, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that is a bit much. Coach, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna be truthful. Jalen Brown is a very good player, but I don't think he a max level contract player. I'm glad he got his money. I'm glad he got to the bag, but hopefully they could get over the hump eventually and win a championship. Because to be truthful, the way it's going, because Rude Dog, and of course Rudy couldn't be on because he was having some technical issues. But shout out to Rude Dog. But he's really against them keeping Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown together. He believes that the Celtics should keep Jason Tatum and they should move Jalen Brown to maybe like a team like the Portland Trail Blazers, somewhere he could kind of be the star of his own team. And I think they make an excellent duo, an excellent tandem. I think they should be together. But the thing about it is, Ram was bringing up the fact that they got Kristaps Porzingis. But to be truthful, he only has 1 year on his deal. And with the new salary cap, of course, it's still a soft cap. It's not like the NFL, where the NFL has a hard cap and you can't exceed it. In the NBA, this is a soft cap, but the way they restructure the luxury tax and everything, they're probably going to have Porzingis for this 1 year. That's part of the reason why they move Marcus Smart from a financial point. They knew, he was pivotal in terms of them being the type of team they were, like they kind of remind me of the Memphis Grizzlies in terms of the grit and grind days. Grit and grind, man, that Memphis Grizzlies team, although they never won a championship, they really had an identity in terms of getting after teams, being physical, being aggressive, being a real like good defensive team. And Marcus Smart, he brought that type of energy to Boston's team. And they knew they were going to have to pay him too. So they knew they weren't going to be able to afford to keep Tatum, Brown, and Smart. And Porzingis, he has an expiring contract. That was part of the reason why they traded him for him. So Marcus Smart, he's going to get paid at some point also. So, I'm glad, Jalen Brown got his money, but I'm going to be truthful. If I'm a general manager, I don't think he's a level caliber player. And, it's Tatum and Brown will be able to get over the hump and win a championship together. That's going to be interesting. But I'm glad he got his money. It's going to be interesting to see, what Boston is going to be, because they lost Grant Williams. Raymond wasn't on that particular episode. I think the Mavericks will be paid for Grant Williams also. So you lost Marcus Smart. You lost Grant Williams. Those two players in terms of the identity and the fabric and the DNA of the Celtics being a gritty defensive team, those two players are pivotal in that. So, you got three bigs. You got Horford. You got Robert Williams. You got Porzingis. You got Malcolm Brogdon, who's an excellent, like, 6-man caliber player off the bench. He's often injured. You got Derek White. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, what type of lineup they're going to play with. More than likely, they're going to have to go big because you have three centers. You have to Brogdon and White. You got Jalen Brown. So it's going to be interesting to see, how things play out. Like I said, I'm glad he got his money. But truthfully speaking, I don't know if he's a max caliber player, And, before I throw it back to K, Christopher Williams, he brought up an excellent point. P. Richardson, he is one of the greatest SWAC coaches of all time,
Okay. Well, guys, oh, closing out, Coach, what would you like the people to know? What would you like to tell the people? How can they follow you?
Well, first of all, for all of my HBCU swag fans, Jaguar fans that's in the building, we appreciate everybody that's new tuning into the show. Also, we appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us since day one. Yesterday, for my LDBC family and my boxing fans, we Raymond and I talked about it also in this show, but I also gave my breakdown and analysis of the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Bud Crawford fight, which is going to be tonight. In addition to that, this morning I premiered a new video talking about Southern. They have 9 players that made the All SWAC team. Basically, as a Southern fan, which players do you think should have made the all preseason SWAC team, in addition to like Jalen Campbell and Tosh Brown and Kristen Davis? What player do you think should have been on the preseason all SWAC team on Southern team that didn't make it? So those are the 2 newest videos I have. If you're a boxing fan, check out the Crawford Spence video. For my Jaguar fans, that video is up, and I have a lot of Southern University football content on my channel. Check out those videos. I'm also getting ready to start a new Southern University series also. So you can catch me here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV. Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's show. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening, blessed and phenomenal weekend, and I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Also, my brother Jared 11 Green, he's in the chat on the Southern Baller Show tomorrow. A couple of these topics that we touched on today, we're going to touch on his show, on his platform also. We're going to talk about both MEAC and SWAC Media Day. We're going to talk about the all MEAC and all SWAC teams. We already talked about the FAMU situation. I'll check tomorrow also. I think we probably going to go on at 7:30 p.m. Tomorrow. So check us out on the Southern Baller Show tomorrow on Jared 11 Green's channel. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. We'll catch y'all next week.
Okay, Ray. What would you like to tell the people? How can they follow you? How can they see you?
Thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Follow me, Ray Swank. Well, subscribe to me, Ray Swank, on YouTube, King Ray, on Instagram, and I'm glad for all the people that participated and spoke and gave their thoughts and opinions in the chat. Hope y'all continue, to watch us and view us, and give y'all inputs and takes on the topics that we discuss. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal day. Peace, love y'all.
Guys, we want to tell you thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. If you have anything that you would like us to talk about, or you would like for us to even engage with you on, please put it in the comment section below. So please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time. And our closing quote: never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion, by Michael Jordan. So, guys, have a great day. See you next time.